Hello everybody on YouTube, this is Super Nintendo, and sorry if I'm looking in a different direction. I had to move my entertainment system a little bit to bring my Switch in here for today's video, and also for a review of the inevitable full project. But this, if you can't tell, is going to be a first impressions type video of The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening for the Switch. At the time of recording this, I have only gone up through the first dungeon. I haven't experienced everything the game has to offer, so my impression, my little thoughts could end up differently by the end of the full project. But, you know, with that said, for a little bit of background real quick, Link's Awakening was my first Zelda. Not Link's Awakening DX, Link's Awakening, the original one on the original Game Boy. I didn't understand anything when I first played it, but when I got around to playing Link's Awakening DX, when I was much older, I understood things fairly well, and yeah, it's a magical game. It really is. But there was always a few things that kept gnawing at the back of my head whenever I play it. That is like, yeah, there are a few things they could have touched up for a remake. Sorry about that. There's a little thing going on with my TV. So, you know, I'm naturally going to be fairly hard on the most recent remake, because yes, DX is a remake. It is, in fact, a remake. But the Switch version is... See, here's the thing. When I get around to talking about my review is less about going to be whether or not the game is good, because it's Zelda and every Zelda game is good. Haha, no bias, but no, not every Zelda game is good. Sorry about that, my stupid HDMI cord for my PlayStation wigs out every now and then. But back on topic. Not every Zelda game is perfect. In fact, I can name at least a few off the top of my head that I don't really like. But this video is not about that. This video is about Link's Awakening, Switch version, and my thoughts. I have beaten the original, well, DX to 100% completion multiple times, so I feel I am one of the best qualified people to talk about the differences between this and the DX. You know, might as well be the original because it's pretty much the only one you can get your hands on nowadays. So, yeah, right off the bat, I love the anime style intro thing, kind of showing the thing for the original, like how Link got he's on this boat and a lightning bolt smashes his boat and sends him ashore to Koholint Island, an island where everything is not what it seems. So, I love the visuals, right off the bat. I love the visuals. There is something weird, though, because, like, the edges of the screen are blurred out, and it's really, really noticeable. I thought I muted my phone. Sorry about that. And it's really, really noticeable. I feel like they did that to help make it so the frame rate can be more consistent, kind of like how in Super Mario Odyssey, how when you turn the camera really fast, it's lowering the resolution of everything on screen enough that it can keep the 60 frames per second or close to it. So I feel like that's what's going on, but I am not a technical wizard, so I have no idea. So There are a few pieces of added in dialogue and different pieces of dialogue, a few additions, if you will. But I feel like it just adds the charm. And as soon as you get the sword, the game slaps you in the face with its charming music. Not all of which I feel is better than the original, but it's very, very charming in its own right. Koholint Island does the little playful, like little kiddie piano thing very well, in a way that I feel that Yoshi's Crafted World did not. Oh my god, like a little bit of a sidetrack. What is up with the music in Crafted World? Oh my god. It is so terrible. It really is. It's so freaking terrible. But the music here is the same songs from the original game, but they're very charming little little remixes, and I kind of like that. Even though the forest theme, I forget the exact term of it, even though I just played through it. I'm sorry. The exact I like the original better because it just kind of feels like, yeah, this is where the adventure starts kicking off. This is where shit starts getting real. But here, it doesn't feel like that. It feels more calm and whatever. Like, I get it. The beginning of the game, a lot of the game actually is very calming, almost like to put you in a false sense of security. I'm not going to say any more for those who don't want spoilers, even though it's like a 20-year-old game, but whatever. And yeah, it's just... Yeah, now, to talk about the crane game and the fishing minigame, there is a lot more that is added into them now. They are completely changed up from the originals. Well, completely. The controls are still pretty much the same, but now there's a lot more finesse and changing and finagling that goes into it. For example, in the original, to my knowledge, once you get a fish in the fishing minigame, there's no way to lose unless you deliberately let yourself lose. Like, you have to not press the A button at all for the fish to get away. And even then, you gotta wait there for like, what, 45 seconds or something? And it's just, yeah, as far as I'm aware, there's no way to lose that. But here, with like the bigger fish and stuff, you can lose. And that's actually a welcome change, because the fishing minigame is something that you go to twice if you want to 100% the game. You go once really early on just to get the heart piece, and you go again later once you visit the pictograph mouse guy, who comes in and pushes the guy or something in the water and he almost drowns. So yeah, that is something that is very there's more added to, there's more rewards too. Like, you can get more than one heart piece, you can get a magic bottle to catch fairies in, and same thing with the crane game. You can get a heart piece now. You can get a magic bottle, I think. You can get a secret seashell in there, definitely. I think you can get a magic bottle in there. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't seen one, but there could be one there. I don't really know. The crane game physics are almost completely changed up from the original. Now the crane moves much faster, so you gotta really time things right. Also, it operates on like almost realistic crane game physics, where the crane can push stuff around. As long as one of the claw clamps grabs the thing, I think you'll be fine. I haven't seen any of the items just fall out of the crane yet, so hopefully it doesn't actually have the capacity to do that, but it is still a possibility because I haven't seen it. But you know, it could be a possibility. I don't really know. And onto the section where Marin sings the Ballad of the Windfish. When I talked to her to do that, and she started to sing, I was in awe. I was in awe. I was brought to tears. And the funny thing is, the singing isn't even, like, super fantastic. I think, just maybe, for one brief moment, I was washed over with nostalgic emotion. Just maybe. Now, I've said in the past, numerous times before, that I'm basically immune to nostalgia because of my lack of memories. But Link's Awakening is one of the few things where I do actually have memories. So, I think Link's Awakening is one of the few games where nostalgia actually can affect me, and that's going to be very dangerous for my review, because it's going to be like, okay, can I separate my thoughts that are, because not only is it Zelda, my favorite video game franchise of all time, but it's a remake of my first Zelda. So the review is going to be very interesting, I feel, trying to come up with trying to separate myself from nostalgia to accurately talk about the game. I haven't noticed a whole lot of issues so far. I have noticed a few frame drops, particularly in the intro, but it's not anything that's like bothersome, at least not to me. And another bit of music that almost brought me to tears was when you get the first one of the instruments. For those who don't know, you go through this game and you go through dungeons, and you have to get I think it's 8 instruments. The first one, the full moon cello. That one was so pleasant sounding. It was just like Marin. It was a wave of nostalgic emotion that just overtook me, and God damn it, I really want to see remakes of the Oracle games done in this style now, because I feel like it would be very interesting. Maybe not the exact same style, because Oracle of Ages is also fairly dark for a Zelda game. It's not the first one to be as dark as it is, but I don't know. Maybe like a hybrid of this style and the A Link Between Worlds style, I feel would work good for those games in particular. But enough with like my little thoughts on that. But the thoughts on this. So far, my thoughts are very positive. There's not a whole lot of negative stuff that I have noticed, except for two things that are changed for the worse, I feel. Cracked floors now break much faster than before. Like, to a point where if you so much as swing your sword twice on there, you're dead. And, well, not dead, you fall down. And that's kind of a problem. Like, if you get hit by an enemy on one of those cracked floors, like, say, a keys, like, in the first freaking time you see these things, there are like 3-4 keys in the room, and if they hit you, you're stunned for a second. The amount of time you are stunned is enough for the floor to cave in. And I feel like that is a real problem. I feel like that is something that should have been corrected. Another thing that is... I don't know how I feel about it altogether, but I lean towards negative. And it's that there are moblins in the game, right? There are moblins in the game. Some of them have swords and shields. The ones with swords and shields, you can't attack. Like, not front on anyway. And that's kind of a pain in the butt, because in the beginning, all you have is a sword and shield. You don't have anything else really to defend yourself. And they block you from pretty much any angle unless you manage to sneak up behind them and, like, Metal Gear Solid their ass and slash them. Which, in some cases, is straight up impossible because of just the nature of how you progress in this game. I don't know how I feel about that. I like that it's a bit more challenging because Link's Awakening is one of the easiest games in the franchise. But at the same time, this doesn't feel like fun challenge. Because in the original, even when they had their shields up, it was still possible to hit these things. It was still possible to hurt them. You had to be at the right angle, but you could still hurt them. Oh, one other thing that is a negative. This game has 8-directional control. I use a Switch Pro controller. You can't control Link with the D-pad. I don't know why. And see, when it comes to control, I am very kind of picky, I guess you could say. Because, like, if it's a game like Link's Awakening, analog control might be some people's go-to. But in a flat game like this, I would prefer to use the D-pad. Or at the very least, have the option to use the D-pad. Like Crash Bandicoot Instant Trilogy or Spyro Reignited Trilogy. You can control Spyro or Crash with the control stick, but you also have the option to use the D-pad. And the D-pad, as far as I can tell, doesn't do anything in the Link's Awakening Switch version. So I don't know why you can't just control Link with the D-pad also. What else? One more positive before I call the video quits. Not only because it's going a little long, but also because I don't have much else more to say. The Guardian Acorn and the Piece of Power are two items in Link's Awakening that are the bane of most players' existence. Because they show up way too frequently, and I'm talking specifically about the original and DX versions right here. They show up way too quickly, and they show up way too frequently. Most of the time, they spawn right on top of your head, so you don't really have a choice in using them. They change the music around you, which Link's Awakening has a great soundtrack, so why? And they also go on for frickin' ever. They can be a help in some circumstances, because The Guardian Acorn increases your defense, so you take half damage for a certain amount of time. And the Piece of Power is the opposite. It increases your attack power by double for a little while. The Switch version, thankfully, as far as I can tell, has lowered their spawn rate. And also has made them so that they don't last for very long. They're just a quick little boost that you can use if you're lucky. And I far prefer this over the original for that feature, the way that feature works. So yeah, I don't have much else to talk about. So pretty good so far. Join me next time when I talk about this game in full for a review. I'll see you guys then. Bye.